Hi everyone, it's Nina. Today I'll be explaining how to draw hair by addressing 3 common mistakes. This video is part 1 of a 2-part series, focusing on the basics of drawing hair. In this part, I will mainly cover the line work, while I'll go over coloring techniques in the next video. Alright, let's get started. Okay, now I will start by quickly sketching some hair that has these mistakes included. Here's what it looks like. The first common mistake is about where the hair grows from, basically the hairline. This is a pretty important point, so to make it easier to explain, I've drawn a character wearing a headband. Can you spot what looks unnatural about this hair? Take a moment to think about it. Okay, now, to make it easier to see, I'll separate the hair into different parts by coloring them. Divide it into 3 parts: bangs, side hair, and back hair. So where does it look off? To explain this mistake more clearly, it's easier to use a side view. Here's the top of the head. When you look at it from the side, you'll notice that the bangs typically grow from slightly in front of the top of the head. Of course, there are exceptions, like people with very voluminous bangs, but as a general rule, bangs usually start growing a little in front of the top of the head. In contrast, a common mistake is drawing bangs that start right at the top. When you view this from the side, it's strange, huh? The bangs just look too voluminous. Now, let's add the headband. If the bangs are growing from the correct spot like this, everything looks natural. But if they're stuck at the top, it makes the headband look like it's positioned almost at the back of the head, which feels very unnatural. So, especially for characters with headbands, it's good to remember that the bangs should start a little in front of the top. Even from the front view, it's nice if you can still see a bit of the top of the head. Of course, this also depends on the hairstyle and personal preference. Let's go ahead and fix this artwork a little. We'll move the bands so they start a bit in front of the top. By doing that, the side hair also moves forward a bit. Overall, the bangs are now smaller and less voluminous. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The second common mistake is uniform and repetitive hair ends. Look at this, it's like, I don't know, a saw blade or something. Everything is spaced evenly and all the ends are the same depth. Now, if you're drawing for children's illustrations, this could be totally fine, but otherwise it looks a bit dull. So let's give the hair ends some variety rather than in a more random, irregular pattern. Sometimes they'll be small, sometimes large, and the spacing should vary. Okay, let's move on to the third common mistake. It's flatness. This isn't exactly a mistake, but it can make the hair look a bit too boring. Again, if you add some volume and movement, it will look more dynamic. Even just focusing on the hair ends can make a difference. When you're drawing, using a long piece of fabric and keep gravity in mind. think about the back and front of the fabric as you sketch, and it will help make the hair look more three-dimensional. Keeping this in mind, let's draw it. This is a super rough sketch, but I hope you get the idea. Now, compare it to what I drew earlier. You can see the difference, right? Just remembering that these 3 tips can help improve your drawings. Even keeping them in the back of your mind can make a difference. I decided to split it into 2 parts, video for line work and the next for coloring. In part 2, I will go over how to add color, with a focus on how to handle shading. Mainly, I will talk about light and shadow, because they are key when it comes to coloring. It's still really tricky to drawing hair. I still struggle with it a lot, but it's so much fun to draw, isn't it? Especially when you see your own improvement. It's so satisfying when the result is right there in front of you. I usually share more drawing tips and techniques I use on this channel. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe or leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I'm always happy to interact with you in the comments. Today, I introduced some basic concepts for drawing hair by highlighting the common mistakes. Remember to focus on where the hair grows, how to draw the end, and how to create a three-dimensional look by thinking of the front and back of the strands like fabric. Give these tips a try, and if it works for you, let me know in the comments. That's it for today. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. See you later, and have a great creative day. Bye bye.